Alright, standing behind me is 10,000 fully powered beacons. Now, I've used a texture pack to remove the beacon beams so you can see them better, so let me just turn that off. This is gonna lag a bit. So this is what it looks like with them being fully powered. Now, why did I do this? Well, it all started yesterday when I went on Twitter and I see this. Some guy by the name SP made 1,000 beacons. Now, as a veteran player since the beta days, I feel like, yeah, it's cool, but not really that impressive to be honest. Like, they aren't even fully powered. Hear me out, okay? All the materials you need for beacons are farmable. With some high-end wither farms and a gold farm, I got the 10,000 beacons and 44,000 gold blocks I needed in mere hours. I mean, look at this. This is from the Litematica menu from the schematic that I had. So I used the Litematica mod to make the schematics for this, and building the whole thing in survival mode took 5.5 hours. Now, sadly, when I finished, I realized that I hadn't pressed record on the replay mod, so instead of seeing a proper time-lapse of the build, you'll be stuck with sped-up footage of building it in first-person view. Yeah, sorry about that. Right, so next I guess I should talk about some of the mods I use, because it could be a bit confusing to understand what you're seeing. So, the first elephant in the room. Why are my stack sizes so large? Well, I use a mod called Stacker, allowing you to change the maximum stack size above 64, all the way to the bit integer limit if you want. I set the max to 1024, 16 times larger than normal. Originally, I wanted to use a far higher stack size, but then I realized how it would affect redstone. My sorting system normally uses 2 of the sorted item and 20 dummy items. If I set the stack size to 50 million, it would need hundreds of thousands of dummy items, maybe more. And then multiply that by the roughly 250 items in my sorting system. So with 1024, I just need 363 dummy items, which is a lot more manageable. Another thing you may have noticed by now is how after placing a gold block, I seemingly get it back. This is because of the Shulker Enchantments mod. So this mod adds 2 enchantments, Siphon and Refill. You can only get these through enchanted books from librarians, and you then apply them to shulker boxes in an anvil. Siphon makes it so if I put dirt inside the shulker box, then any dirt I pick up would go to the shulker box instead of your inventory, as long as the shulker box is inside your inventory, of course. Now, Refill does the opposite. So by putting gold blocks inside, the stack refills every time I use one. Essentially, it's kinda like using items directly from the shulker box, saving you the time you would otherwise use to place the shulker box and resupply manually. So why do I use these inventory management mods? Well, as we've covered, they're extremely convenient when dealing with massive amounts of items. Mojang really needs to do something about inventory management. We've had the same 36 slots since the beginning, but Mojang has added thousands of items since. So when I saw Izuma's new video on the topic, where he presented some possible solutions, I learned of the Stacker mod and thought, I ought to try that. Anyway, making this thing has been really exhausting. Normally, I'd make a macro for repetitive stuff like this, you know, mostly to avoid carpal tunnel, but this is too complicated. Now, when I finally got to the beacons, it got more and more frustrating as the frame rate went down the more beacons I placed. And I also kept clicking too fast, so I would end up inside the beacon UI. By the time I was done, I had like 9 FPS. So here it is. This is what 10,000 beacons look like. So, I mainly did this just to prove that it's not really that impressive to have 1,000 beacons, or even 10,000 for that matter. Like, I did this in literally a day. Yeah, it's not really that impressive. Like, actually, it really isn't. Like, as I said earlier, all the items you need are farmable, alright? They're all farmable. Now, because of the intense lag, I'm probably just gonna blow up the whole thing. Yeah. So my next video will still be the weekly Monday video. This is just a bonus video I wanted to make. And, yeah. Bye.